There's something about camping that makes the world feel both smaller and bigger at the same time. Smaller because you're huddled in your own little bubble of firelight. Bigger because just beyond that ring of light, there's nothing but endless swallowing darkness. This story takes place in 2016, when 3 college students, Rachel, Mark, and Devin, decided to take a weekend trip into a remote stretch of forest in northern Pennsylvania. They wanted to disconnect from technology, get away from school stress, and just breathe. The forest was quiet. Too quiet, really. By the time they set up camp, they realized they hadn't passed another hiker all day. But that isolation was exactly what they were looking for. They pitched their tents, built a fire, roasted marshmallows, told dumb stories. It was one of those perfect nights you don't think you'll ever forget. But the part they didn't forget was what happened after midnight. Mark was the first to hear it, a twig snapping just beyond the firelight. At first, he laughed and said it was probably a deer. But Rachel noticed something. The sound wasn't random. It was steady, almost like footsteps. They all froze, listening. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Then it stopped. Mark shouted into the dark, "Hello? Who's out there?" No answer. Just the sound of the fire. Devin grabbed a flashlight and shined it into the trees. Nothing but branches, shadows, and fog. They laughed it off. Tried to, at least. Told themselves it was just an animal. But after that, the night didn't feel fun anymore. Around 2 a.m., Rachel woke up. She swore she heard whispering outside her tent. At first, she thought it was Mark or Devin messing with her. But when she peeked through the small screen window of her tent, she froze. There was a man. Standing just outside the ring of firelight. She couldn't see his face, only the outline of his body. Still as a statue, just watching. Rachel's heart slammed in her chest. She whispered to herself, "Mark? Devin?" But both of them were still asleep in their tents. When she looked back, the man was gone. The next morning, Rachel told the others. They didn't believe her. They said she probably dreamed it. But when they walked the perimeter of camp, they found something in the mud. Boot prints, deep ones, circling the camp. That was enough for Devin. He wanted to pack up and leave. But Mark convinced him to stay just one more night. That night was worse. They all heard it this time. The footsteps, pacing, circling, closer than before. At one point, Devin shouted into the dark, "We know you're out there! What do you want?" Silence. Then, a laugh, low, raspy, coming from the trees. The 3 of them didn't sleep. They sat by the fire until dawn, clutching whatever they could find as weapons. Flashlights, sticks, even tent poles. When the sun rose, the woods looked normal again. Almost too normal. No footprints this time. No sign anyone had been there. But Rachel couldn't shake it. She wanted out. So they packed their gear and started hiking back toward the trailhead. About an hour into the hike, they came across something that made them stop cold. A tree. And carved into its bark were 3 names. Rachel, Mark, Devin. Their stomachs dropped. The letters were fresh. The cuts in the bark still raw, sap dripping down. Someone had carved their names while they were sleeping. That's when they realized the man in the woods hadn't been watching them. He'd been studying them. The 3 of them didn't speak for the rest of the hike. They didn't stop for food or water or even to catch their breath. When they finally reached the parking lot, there was only one car. Theirs. The lot was otherwise empty, but on the hood of their car was a piece of paper. Scrawled in messy handwriting, it read, "Glad you came. Come back soon." Rachel swears to this day that they were being stalked. Not by an animal, not by some random hiker, but by someone who had been living out there, deep in those woods. And the worst part, no matter how many times she tells the story, she always swears they never told him their names.